Welcome to session number three of our HR special topic series. Of course, special shout out to my student and the others who are also listening, because all of you are my virtual students in this regard. So today we will focus on one of the most dynamic and evolving areas of human resource management, talent acquisition and recruitment strategies. Especially here in the Philippines, we have a hard time, aligning skills with talent or skills with what is needed in the job. So our goal here is to really explore innovative methods for attracting and retaining top tier talent in a competitive market. So you will notice there's just 9 slides here in this presentation because really when you look at the program equivalency, is this is really meant for that. Most of the inputs are coming from the students themselves. So because this is a special program, so actually we are not focused on the lecture of practitioners like me, management practitioners even, because most of the talents, most of the skills are coming from our students, being a practitioner himself or herself. Okay, so the goal here is to have an insight, a reflection on what you are doing in your workplace, and situate that it's aligned to theoretical frameworks. Eventually, if you wanna put this as one of your suggested thesis, thesis topics, especially when you do your research, then it would be for the benefit of either your company or your own self as you navigate the other companies themselves. So in this session, we will explore on innovative uh, talent acquisition. We will cover how to attract top talent, as we said, through employer branding, competency-based hiring, and the use of data-driven approaches for workforce. As I mentioned, we have only a few slides here, but we're going to try as much as possible, to put more inputs and emphasis on the things that are mentioned on each slide. And of course, as I always tell my students, especially the ones who are enrolled in this program, so every slide is a chance for you to put your reflections. I always say that it's better for you to take down notes for your reflection, even to the point of saying, even if you are using ChatGPT, in your essay insights or something, you should have your own insight. You cannot just put generic prompts. You can only do that, those meaningful reflection paper, insight paper, when you incorporate your own reflection, your own experience in the paper. Okay. So mind you, of course, we have AI detector, which is powerful. I myself cannot beat it. Okay? So just to tell you. Right? So if you're a student of mine, if you are formally enrolled, then for each slide, you should have your reflection. Okay? It doesn't have to appear in the paper as, okay, slide number two, this is what happened. No, it's not like that. It has to be like the whole thing, but for every time you see that there is something there that hits note with you. Like in the previous slide, I said something about it's really difficult here in the Philippines, for example, to match the skills with a position, right? How about in your country? If you are in another country, or how about in your industry? I know this. as a fact, as a matter of fact, especially with the BPO industry, for example. They will have 100 applicants. So sometimes now, I don't know now how few or how many the applicants are, but when they start with like 100, only people, the throughput rate would be around five. And then those five, maybe around two will remain until next year. I don't know. This data is something that I have at least 10 years. Or yeah, I have one client just recently. So yeah, I think 5 years. So it depends really on the kind of industry that you have. So maybe you can share uh, the industry practice and the data that you have with your industry without, of course, naming your company. Okay, so this session, this slide is specifically focusing on the agenda for today's session. As you can see there, modern talent acquisition techniques. It's not really that modern. If you look at it, it's been there for a long time. But of course, with the use of AI now, there's some techniques that are here uh, that are not present before. Okay, especially when the pandemic hit in 2020, a lot has changed because of that. And then we'll talk about workforce planning and data-driven recruitment. So this session will begin with modern talent acquisition techniques, focusing on employer branding and competency-based hiring. And then we will look into the workforce planning, the role of data analytics now, data analytics, and then AI, of course, and other digital tools that shape our recruitment strategies. Okay, so today's recruitment landscape, our landscape, requires innovative approaches to attract the right candidates. Employers must leverage various strategies, including strong branding, of course. Being the employer of choice helps a lot. Okay. And then, of course, we also use targeted assessment techniques to find the best talent for their organization. Okay. Employer branding and talent attraction strategies. So let's first talk about employer branding. Why is it important? No? In today's digital world, candidates are not just evaluating the salary package. That's how we do our application before. Usually we ask ourselves, kano ba ang sweldo dito? And nobody even mentioned to us when we were studying, never to ask those questions. Even if they ask you, okay, do you have any questions? You know, no one told me. So I made a lot of mistakes when I was starting, an applicant in the beginning. It's like barely 20. Okay. So yeah, so why is it important? The candidates are also evaluating other things. They're evaluating the culture, the values of the company, uh, the the people there who are working in the company. So a strong employer brand would act like a magnet, so you become an employer of choice. It attracts talent that resonates with your kind of culture and mission vision. So of course, you can boost your brand by showcasing real employee experiences on your website and social platforms. You do that a lot, especially with BPO. Remember, one such company, you will be greeted when you enter the company with so many of those things, playing the videos are playing in their uh, large TV screens. So more or less, it tells you that this is the kind of culture that we have here. Okay, so it's a compelling image that would resonate with potential candidates. especially for Gen Z, I would say. No, I have to say that because my daughter is Gen Z. Most of my undergrad students are Gen Z, if not all of them, and I think all of them, the undergrad, no. And one such student of mine said, Doc, ang Gen Z talaga, what they want is yung hindi sila aawayin. Parang not to go on a rampaging debate with them, arguing with them. It's just sometimes accepting who they are. And talagang that is the reason why I'm saying is that they themselves are looking for the right employer. Kaya most of them are not even venturing far away from their homes, no? Doon lang sila sa malapit because they don't want to travel to as far as Manila, for example, which is around 40 or 50 kilometers away from their homes. Ayun, so to to the point of saying, paano tuloy the previous generations are saying, oh, yung mga bata ngayon, walang pangarap sa buhay, whatever. But I think it's not true. We were also like that, I would say, in the beginning. And eventually we mellowed down and we became, brave and all that. So of course I have high hopes for this generation because my daughter is part of this generation. And she's also experiencing some of those things as well. Mga mental health issues, well-being and all that. Diba? So all of those things are important for the candidate. So as I said, you can showcase real employee experience on your website, social platform. You can share testimonials and stories and workplace highlights. One one such website platform, I think it's Glassdoor or Indeed. They even put the rating of the companies in terms of a lot of things actually. Not only salary package, the culture, management, all that. And they have like a rating scale. You can even compare and see the negative comments. Usually, ako nga Gen X but when I look at the companies, tapos ang rating, baba, no? Sometimes 2 lang. Alam mo na they are paying a high salary. Tapos ang opening pa, HR manager, HR director, vice president for HR, and they're paying like, I don't know, 200,000, 250,000. And then you will look at the rating ng tao. You see, what? 1.0, 1.5 out of 5 yun, ah. So, medyo matatakot ka din. Sabi mo, wow, anong meron din sa company? What is it in this company? Why are they rating the company so low on this or that regard, right? Eh, yung pa naman, kita ng lahat, you know? And you can't prevent the website from doing that kasi it's meant for applicants. Kumbaga, siguro the idea is, kayo nga din you are rating your applicants on their fit, no? Yung kanilang fit sa inyong uh, hinahanap, no? And so, we also have that power as well, right? So some of these people, they even have to put it in their website. Some of these people don't show up simply because they say, saan ba to? Okay. Hindi ako po pwede. Ganun. That's why I even tell my students now na, pag kayo na-recommend, pag kayo nakuha sa interview, as much as possible, you have to go there because if not, nakakahiya naman sa nag-recommend yung professor. At the same time, napa-blacklist ka rin, no, because of that. I told them, especially here in Region 4, where I am from, no, so I'm sure my students from uh, another country. So, but in Region 4A in Calabarzon, we have many HR groups here. And I am in a lot of the GCs of this HR. And alam ko kung paano yan nakamarka kayo dyan, no? You are marked forever in an infamy list, so to speak. Hindi naman siya outright na ban or something, but the story goes around. Hindi naman siya pinopost kasi nga bawal din. No? But you can ask, meron ka bang nag-apply na ganito? Kasi parang antipati ko, ano, the mga wordings ng mga HR sa recruitment. So in a way, we're gauging each other because it's like marriage, parang you're courting each other, right? So ganun po. So, but as an employer, a compelling employer image, no? It's not just marketing. It's meant for strategic recruitment. I remember there was um, schools movement. It's a theory in schools management, or school leadership called effective schools movement. And one of our subjects before, nung masters ko pa, that's another master, the first masters that I had with Dasali. And the book is called Personal Management. Personal Management pa pangalan eh. And it's by Seyfarth. I remember the guy who wrote this, Dr. Seyfarth, because 1990s, yeah, 1999 nata, o 1990. Basta 1990 siya. I remember him because nung gumagawa ko ng mga reflection notes dati with Salmon, lagi ko nababanggit yun eh. And Seyfarth mentioned something about how to do the interview using the effective schools movement model. So, maganda yung kanyang point. And it goes a little something like the competency-based hiring, which I think we will be. Yeah, no? So, competency-based hiring and assessment techniques. No? So, we will move here. So, this is a method that focuses on evaluating candidates based on actual behaviors and skills, not just credentials. Di ba? You receive the resume, and ngayon nga, most of the times they just use AI, no? May mga ATS na tayo, applicant tracking system. We use AI. Even ang job street, merong mga rating yan. The specific requirements that you have, and how this guy or that guy or this lady, more or less aligns with what you're looking for, and then the filter goes on, or kaya naman the highest score, sino man yung top 5 or top 10 that you are going to, interview, even after all those filtering that you did, no? Sometimes, sa job street, 100 yung mag-a-apply dyan, 150. Test tayo bilang applicant. You can see, oh, this is how I fare against my competitor, so to speak. Di ba? He's asking lower salary. Pag premium, kita mo yan eh. Right? So, yan. So, competency-based hiring, it ensures more or less no better alignment, as I said, no, between the role and the candidate. Now, as I said, meron na nitong AI. Ako nga nakagawa ng ganito. And isa to sa feature ng aming consulting company that we offer. So parang instead of going through all of those 500 or so applicants, you just put all these resume first in a filtering um, tool, AI, and then yun, mamimili na siya yung pinaka-best alternative or best choice. At this is very unlike nung unang panahon, no, na talagang if there are 500 applicants, sometimes you have to go through all of them, no? Talagang, ano ba yung record ko in a day na interview? Ay, kasi ano to investors in people. Sometimes, merong mga 5 and 10 at the same time. Matagal ako mag-interview eh. Usually talaga you really have to listen to the person, para makita mo talaga yung kanyang thoughts. I would say, mga 20, 25. Tapos you're interviewing, let's say, 100, apat na araw. Tapos, by the end of the day, wala na eh. Halos the answers, the question and answers are almost like automatic to you, and you are looking for someone who answers yung uniquely compared to his or her peers. Minsan yun na yung hinahanap mo eh, not yung mga usual, oh, I'm hard working person, blah blah, I'm a positive person, something. Diba? Ayan. So enhance, ano pa, better alignment, no? Second is enhance objectivity kasi nga merong sometimes may scoring pa yan in hiring decisions, and then stronger workforce performance outcomes. So, parang ganun, no? Meron kang role fit eh, job fit. You assess not just what the person has done, nasa resume niya, but how they did it. So you ask him. You have structured interviews, scenario-based questions, and also behavioral assessments. Yun yung mga usual na ginagawa natin. Because, of course, if you just rely on their resume, of course, they will say good things about themselves, right? So may bias yun, reporter bias. Even sa research, meron ganyan. Okay, let's now shift our focus to workforce planning, no? And the power of data in recruitment, data-driven recruitment. Because we now live in an era where recruitment can be proactive, not just reactive. Kumbaga, you don't react pag meron ng workforce capacity problem. Capacity and capability. Capacity is the number of people. And sometimes, kung bigla-bigla, lalo na here in the Philippines, kung walang planning, no? For ISO companies, no, PDCA nga eh. So, dapat there should be workforce planning. And in my company before, what I think an innovative point that I use, kasi nakaten ako ng ISO training na to, as QFR. And eventually, auditor. What I added was the parang IPDCA. So there are inputs first to the plan. Kasi like here in the Philippines, I don't know lang maybe in other places they do it effectively. Okay? But especially in schools, minsan hindi alam ng mga schools or ng deans na aalis na pala yung teacher, and usually you don't say that, di ba? Kasi baka sakaling hindi ako matanggap sa kabila, if I don't get accepted in another school, then at least I have a load here in this school, right? So you kind of inform the person, Doc, hindi po na ako magtuturo ngayon kasi ganito. So you can actually invent uh, you know, a lot of excuses for not accepting the would-be load, right? So because of that, yung 15 units pala naka-assign sa'yo na, or 12, or 18, how do you now get somebody, how do you replace this person na hindi na pala turo? I remember when I was the dean in CBA before, yung maliliit na klase, like 7 or 8 people, kinaklase ko na nga sa aking office eh. Because, first of all, meron kaming problem sa office nun. Kasi ito yung time na pinapagawa pa yung school. I mean, may problem sa classrooms. Tapos at the same time, ano bang, the classroom meant for 40 students or 35 students, 9 lang yung nagkaklase, di ba? Parang inefficient. So, I can do that because I was the dean during that time. And since, it's a management course, halos lahat naman ng management course, kaya naman natin ituro. Even nga ang subject for accountancy, kasi yun ang medyo konti ang students, no? I can teach those, especially in financial management side. Of course, yung mga taxation, yan, government compliance, I don't have that. I can study that, but of course, I'm not the person who should be teaching that. Aside from that, I think every course is fair game for me. And that's the reason why, okay, so ako kaya kong suportahan yung college should I lack teachers. Um, yung tipong bigla na. So, nung dati meron kaming legal management. Tapos alam mo yun, walang, parang may nag-back out na teacher, mag-handle ng research. At least, research, di yun, madali na, no? Articles, case digest, nagkaroon kami ng ganyan, nasa Lasal ako. So, yun ang in-apply ko, and okay naman yung klase namin. So, well, of course, under ko yun, and I'm their dean. So, no problem. Ilan na sila eh. Like, RDA. Wala pang, I think 7 nga. Even 6 lang. So yun, madali siyang hawakan. Pero paano kung you are, you have like a 3,000 personnel or tao na factory, and sabi nga ng estudyante ko, 30% minsan, hindi naman 30%, 10% ang nawawala sa isang araw minsan o absent. Di ba? Lalo pagtapos ng holiday. 3,300 kagad yun eh. Paano babalasahin yung linya, no? Sometimes, talagang kawawa naman yung, workforce capacity planner, di ba? And that is the reason why you really should have inputs. Ako sa akin, importante talaga yung inputs eh. Inputs before the plan. Because the inputs force you to plan. Like, ano ba yung input? Like, yung nga, yung mga SWOT, PESEL ninyo, di ba? Tapos mga changes in the laws, yung mga compliances, di ba? May nagbago, ganito. So, titingnan mo, okay, may bagong input, tingnan mo how does that affect us? Sabihin, for example, talagang maigpit na, hindi na po pwedeng walang masters. Siyempre, college yan eh. Walang masters. This is for schools. Eh. Nako, sasabihin mo na yung mga ano dyan. Pwede tayo mag-team teaching, okay? Pero imagine, ikaw yung nandiyan dyan, ah, ako pala yung nakasulat, pero ikaw nagtuturo. Parang ganun, di ba? Or nagti-team teach kayong dalawa, Sometimes you teach, sometimes he or she teaches. Di ba? Parang because of that, masisira yung diskarte mo. So, you have to go to planning. Yan ang workforce planning na tinatawag. No? O kaya naman, in the industry, yung tipong merong sudden surge ng demand, how do you now, agad-agad, no? Nagkakaroon ka ng additional people, no? Paano ka magre-recruit at such a short notice? And that's the reason why more or less may mga forecast ka dito, no? So you have workforce planning, and you can even ask your department heads more or less the scenario on a month by month even, no? Basis. Kasi para at least you are prepared. Pero kung ikaw tipong 3 days lang palugit or something, you will have a hard time doing it. So that is why it is essential, no? Yung mga forecasting, etc. So data-driven recruitment enables organization to make informed decisions based on the insights derived from HR analytics. Importante yun eh. Ensuring a strategic approach to building a skilled work. Ayan ha, so in this slide, we use HR analytics as a take-off point, no, of our discussion. So yan, I think ang pili natin dito with our enrolled students is maybe share, no? Do you have HR analytics? What kind of data do you track, no, in your HR analytics? Kasi you can use HR analytics to forecast talent, to do workforce planning. So HR analytics can be utilized to forecast future talent needs and assess workforce capabilities. So workforce capacity, which is yung number ng tao, and then capability, so training. No? So when you analyze historical data, you look at the trends, you can predict skill shortages. And then the number, usually number lang sa Philippines eh. Not really the skills yet. Same skills, nadadaan na lang sa training, no? But of course, it's really best, no? to find the right people with the right mindset, with the right skill set, hindi ka na mahirapang nag-train. However, ewan ko with you guys, no, but you can actually make comments or whatever. And kung kayo ay enrolled dito sa class na to, you can give a as part of the insights, no? In your case ba, is it difficult to get some positions? Kasi sa pag-iikot ko around, a lot of yung mga technical skills, ang hirap kunin, no? Ang hirap niyang makuha. Fine. And we lose our applicant not only to our competitors, companies, but most especially for abroad, yung mga work abroad, OFW positions abroad. Diba? Example lang dito sa Carmel Ray, isa sa mga pinakamahirap na nasasabi nga dito ng HR nating sama is yung mga forklift operator o kaya crane, yung mga ganyan. Ay nako, sabi niya George, ang hirap talagang kumuha dyan. Ay, di ba meron tayo sa TESDA? Oo nga, ang TESDA, pag meron ka nakuha, after 3 months, 4 months, at least nakuha na ng Singapore times 4 ang salary. Di ba? So, parang hirap. It's pretty difficult. Kasi even yung historical data of sa workforce planning, I mean, theoretically speaking, nagagamit talaga. Kaya nga sa klase, I always tell them, ito, tinaturo sa inyo kung paano mag-predict ng data, paano mag-forecast. However, sa tunay na buhay, in real life, it doesn't really work that way. Kasi, for example, you know for a fact that yung seasonal index-wise, may mga season index yan eh. Ang June, July, August, mababa, ang work, so you don't hire, right? If you just base it on the historical data, tas biglang, for example, katulad ng isang student ko before, sa isang company na nagagawa ng camera for Samsung. Sabi niya, the problem, we cannot say no to our client. Of course, that's Samsung. We are only, tatlo lang daw sila eh. We are only three suppliers. And for example daw, this week, order, 6,000. Okay. Yeah, okay. Kaya yan. Kaya ng aming capacity. And then eventually, after 2 days, 3 days, sabihin, nako, we need more from you. We are projecting an additional of 9,000. So ikaw ngayon, nataranta ka bigla, no? You will hire people only to be called again after 2 or 3 days na, okay, binabawi namin yung aming order. I go, can't you do something about that? Well, we can. However, they will just say, okay, so so are you saying you're not going to participate in this production order? Alang mo sabihin mong, yes, we will not. Kasi pag ginawa mong yun, wala na, next time, you will lose that client already. So wala kang choice eh, di ba? Ngayon tatawag na sa Porter 5 na forces that the power of the consumer, the power of the customer is so big that you can't say no to that company, right? So even if you do historical data analysis, you have all those fancy, um, time series, marami yan eh, no? I have POMQM, it's a software. You can do uh, forecasting there. Tapos, what is good about that is you are not only given the next forecast, but also the error of the fit. Di ba? Marami eh. Marami yan. You can identify trends, predict skills. However, you cannot rely on that to predict your shortage of people. Kasi the hiring itself is such a big deal, no? That if you hire a person, you cannot eventually you cannot just let go of that person without due process and then substantive due process and procedural due process. Kumbaga, pag na-hire mo, yun na yun eh. Makukuha mo na siya, no? Ang hirap ng mag-alis ulit ng tao, no? And that's the reason why you have to be sure for every addition. Yan, ha? So, even if you do identification of trends, no? To inform yourself of future talent requirements, daming mga fancy software to do it, it's pretty hard to forecast the need, especially with the kind of environment, the culture that we have today. No? Yan, tinitingnan din natin dito, we are addressing potential skills shortages, not only capacity but capabilities. No? Ito maganda dito. No? You can actually predict this. Ito po pala, no, ang usual na komentaryo, kasi nga nakita ko yung capability. Ang usual komentaryo ng mga ibang HR is that, kaya mo na, okay na yan, tao na lang, ang binibilang na lang daw ay yung number, kasi nga daw yung hiring, yung skills, sa totoo lang, ititrain din naman yan lahat. Sabi ko, even if you're college graduate, sabi niya, sa totoo lang, masakit ang loob ninyo, pero ang tingin daw niya sa mga pinoproduce ng mga schools ay generic. I always tell this, no, to my students. I even tell my students, current students ko, sabi ko, kung sasama ang loob ninyo, no, that is not me talking. But the industry, they're saying na generic ang graduate natin. Generic to the point na when they graduate, they know something or two, even if that person is, should be strong with business development or kaya marketing. Wala, pagdating sa tunay na buhay, you are still training them, no, for 4 months. And then pagdating ng ika-fifth month, umalis na, di ba? Umalis na, lumipat na naman ng ibang company. O yun, mas malaki na ang sweldo kasi na-train mo eh. Kaya they don't like that idea, you know? And I don't know, in your case, ano naman po ang inyong concerns dyan? Do you have the same problems? Do you have the same thing going on with you? Do you think that some of our graduates, not only here in the Philippines but abroad, or the people who are going to your company, are they generic graduates? No? Ganun ba ang tingin natin? Yan, ha? So that is why we are making use of HR analytics, no, to address the skill shortages that will happen at least in the near future. No? Para hindi ka nahihirapang mag, mag-hire immediately. Okay, so yan, dito naman, no, ayan, no, so ulit, ano yun natin, no, we more or less, we dig deeper dun sa HR analytics. So HR analytics will help us answer key questions like, what roles will we need 6 months from now? Yan, yung mga future uh, workforce capacity or even workforce capability. Where are our talent gaps today? Yan ang magandang question. That is a very good question. Where is our talent gap? Saan tayo nagkakaproblema? Is it in the production, engineering ba, marketing, di ba? So, saan tayo nagkakaproblema sa skills gap na unang-una ang hirap-hirap kumuha ng tao for that. Ganito nga mga ano ng companies eh. I don't know if you're in that same boat. Yung tipong, sinasabi ko rin sa aking mga estudyante, I always remind them, uh, marunong ka ba mag-FS? O ba, wala yung bookkeeper, whatever, kailangan mo nang kunin yung income per day, dahil report mo sa management committee or execom, and then you ask for the business graduate, no? Eh, ang pobre bata, marketing. Sabi niya, do you know how to do, financial saving? Gusto ko lang malaman yung income or P&L natin, no? Profit and loss. At least, real time. Eh, sir, hindi po ako marunong. Bakit? Business ka. Di ba? And even sa marketing, no? So, accounting graduate ka, and then, business ka, hindi ka ba marunong mag-marketing? No? Di ba tinuturo sa inyo? Wala ka bang sabing marketing? So, di ba? Yun is a skills gap eh. Talent gap yan. And a lot of companies, sabi ko nga sa mga students ko, that's why, lalo na sa business, more or less, you are being asked to do all sorts of jobs. Kaya nga, in a way, yung sagot natin sa industry kasi nga jack of all trades, master of none eh. Di ba? Lalo na ang business graduate. Sabi ko sa mga estudyante ko, to the point of being, of sounding insulting, parang nakikita, yun nga, as I said, nakikita yung generic graduate at jack of all trades, master of none. Wala tayong expertise. Lahat kinakain natin and ang tingin ng industry, patay sampusang pera. You know what I mean? That expression that there's just so many of us that so many people can actually do what we're doing. That is why you really have to stand above everybody else, more or less. No? You're competing against everybody else, even professionals from other countries. Yeah. So when you study historical hiring data, turnover trends, yeah, so we can identify potential skills. Now in technology, in recruitment, we mentioned some of these, but let's specifically talk about AI and digital tools. On the positive side, AI helps automate resume screening, right? So this is what I was telling about in the first few slides, yung tawag na ATS, no? We can actually match candidate profiles to job description, yung kanyang fit, general fit, and then personalize the communication throughout the recruitment journey, no? Okay, yung mga AI algorithm, you can actually subject all the applicants there so that you will have a ranking more or less. Ito yung pinaka na natin, no? Kasi siya yung pinaka-link. Tapos pag tinawag mo, hindi na pala interested. Yan, yun ang mga medyo mahirap yan. Kaya nga, you should have a lot of mga choices. So this would mean faster hiring, not necessarily, but at least compared to yung manual, no? And I think yung better candidate experience as well. Maraming challenges pa rin to, no? Ensuring fairness is one. Yan ang medyo concern natin dito kasi uh, there are certain biases, like it or not, in algorithms. No? So, depende sa pagkakaprogram natin yan, right? Tapos, the people who might be your strongest candidate might not even pass the ATS, no? Sa tracking system. Hindi sila nakakalampas sa mga bots natin. So, hindi sila na-interview. Now, because of that, nagkakaroon ka ng bias. No? Tapos, another thing is how to maintain a human touch because behind every resume is a person, not just the data. Okay? You have data there, you have experience, no? So you have to strike a balance between leveraging technology, but preserving the human connection. So always talk to the person and not just look at the resume. And minsan nape-penalize yung hindi marunong gumawa ng magandang resume. Di ba? Eh, samantala yung gumawa ng magandang resume, pinagawa lang pala, o kaya nag-AI lang, paano na? Di ba? Yun ang, ano doon, problem. Okay, so yan ang mga usual na ginagawa natin sa recruitment. Of course, not to mention our tests, yan, hindi natin nabanggit dito yan, mga testing, psychometric evaluation, psychiatric evaluation, so all of those things that we do in order to filter the candidates. Okay, as a conclusion, to conclude, talent acquisition today is not just about filling vacancies, but about building strategic capabilities. No? So, capacity muna and then capabilities. And then, of course, that we achieve through smart, ethical, and data-driven hiring. No? So, ito yung mga key takeaways natin. Number one would be employer branding drives attraction. Of course, if your branding is so much so that people are running towards you in order to get hired by your company, it's easier to look for candidates eh. Kasi ang dami kang choices, no? But if you're not well known, you will have a hard time. That is the reason why you really have to work triple hard or quadruple in order to match whatever, for example, San Miguel Corporation is getting or Cebu Pacific or something like that. Mga sikat na companies, right? Number two is competency-based hiring ensures alignment. Yun, balikan lang natin yung sinasabi ko, effective schools movement. Doon sa sinabi ni Safeart sa personal management in schools, sabi niya, even in the way you ask your questions would more or less determine kung gaano ka-fit yung applicant. So, for example, sa effective schools movement kasi, one of the things that they believe in is the educability of every learner. So, in Tagalog, parang lahat ng ng learner ay kaya mong i-educate. Parang ito yung idea no child left behind. So, parang lahat sila ay ngayon, pag nagtanong ka, for example, if you're looking for an applicant in that effective schools movement, yan ang tatanungin mo, do you believe in that, no? Ako, kaya, when was the last time you showed interest in a learner that is having a hard time or who is having a hard time to teach? Ngayon, pag ikaw sabi mo, ay, hindi na ako nakikialam dyan. So, medyo sa akin, no yun dun sa effective schools movement. No? Do you believe in the general educability of students? When was the last time you you showed this? Diba? Yun. How do you manifest yung support for learning sa mga estudyante? Bibigay ka ng mga blah blah. Diba? And then you will ask again, can you tell me the last time that you did this, that you stayed behind and really coached the child? So in a way, sabi ko nga, I always tell this, unless you are a congenital liar, it's difficult to more or less, no? It's difficult to do the continuous lying. I cannot do that. Mahirap. No? So talagang mahirap if not impossible, especially for normal people like us. So pag hindi ka talaga pala sinungaling, eh may hirap kang mag-continue magpa-interview ng hindi totoo yung sinasabi mo. That's why I really take time to interview people. No? So more or less, mag-engage mo yung kanyang personality. Aside from that, of course, as I said, not only yung interview, but also yung mga psychometric evaluation, there are tests here and there that the companies are using. Number three, workforce planning. Sinabi na natin to, no? Supported by analytics, allows HR to be proactive. And then number four, while AI tools bring efficiency, syempre, HR's human side remains irreplaceable. Kaya nga HR, human, human resources. So in our next session, we will talk about employee engagement and retention. Ito talaga napakahirap kunin in today's world. How do you engage your people? How do you involve them? Okay? So this is key actually to keeping the talent we work so hard to attract, right? So thank you for joining today's session. Until next time, recruit smart, hire with a purpose, and build the talent of our companies for the future. Congratulations for making this far. Thank you. If you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe. Thank you very much po.